State versus Jerry Hopper, 18-22, kidnapping, domestic battery, and then 16-221 is for a revocation hearing today.
Judge, it's my understanding from speaking with the state that there's going to have to be an amended petition filed because of these new charges. So the short answer is no. We can, if we're ready to arraign them on the new charges, can we go ahead and do that, and we'll take up the revocation at a different time?
Okay, 18-22. I said kidnapping, domestic battery in the 3rd degree.
Judge, she'd waive reading of the information in her plea of not guilty on the new charges.
We'll enter the plea of not guilty, and we'll have him here before Judge Webb on the January 18th.
Your may I approach?
You may. Have you seen the amended petition?
I have, Your Honor.
How does he plead to that?
Not guilty.
Okay, we'll enter the plea of not guilty, and we'll have a hearing on February 1st. Anything else?
Not for today's purposes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, sir, thank you. State versus Billy Bailey, 18-19. Possession with purpose to deliver controlled substances, paraphernalia, criminal impersonation. Mr. Bailey, I've appointed the Public Defender's Office to represent you. You appear for an arraignment. How does he plead?
Not guilty.
Okay, we'll enter the plea of not guilty, and when will his pretrial be?
March 15th.
Have a pretrial on March 15th at 10 o'clock or soon thereafter as we can get to it. Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. May stand aside, thank you. State versus Chelsea Hogan, 18-11. Possessing controlled substances, theft. And I've appointed the Public Defender's Office to represent you.
What?
And
Well, let's try and tell each other and love each other.
yes, he's preparing, she rather, is preparing for an arraignment.
Yes, Your Honor. Plead not guilty to the new charges. We'd like to be heard on bond.
Okay, we'll enter the plea of not guilty. We'll have a pre-trial on March 15th at 10 o'clock or soon thereafter so we can get to it. What would you like to say about the bond?
Judge, Ms. Hogan was in the process when this occurred of enrolling in Teen Challenge in Russellville. What we would request is that the court allow her to, if that facility accepts her, allow her to be transported there for rehabilitation. A money bond at this point in time is, I think, irrelevant as far as whether or not she could make it. Chelsea's father is a deputy in Marion County, and it's my understanding that he would be willing to transport her if the court would allow such an arrangement.
Your Honor, this lady is 23 years old. She's a young person. If we can get her in, I don't know what, I'm not sure what this program is. If it's a locked-up facility, I don't have any objection to it. But simply stating I'm going to, if she wants to be taken from the jail to the facility, if it's a residential facility.
It is, Your Honor.
I don't,
Yes, sir.
I want to know how long she's going to be there. I mean, if she's going to be there 2 weeks, we're going to let her out. I don't know. I'm not in favor of
It's a
that.
13-month program. I apologize.
Like a year.
13 months.
Judge, I don't have any objection to that. I don't have any objection to her father picking her up from the jail and taking her to Russellville, Arkansas.
But it's not a locked facility.
Well, I understand she can walk off, Judge, and compound the problem. She's obviously got a problem here.
Yes, sir, I do. I've had an eviction.
Maybe the father could file a $5,000 bond, a signature bond. If the father would do that, I mean, at least we have something to rely upon.
Would he do that?
We can ask him, Judge. I haven't spoken to him about that yet.
I will.
He's not able to right now. I haven't been able to speak to him, but my dad knows that I made the choices I made, sir, and I have to I have repercussions of because of that. But I'm not going to be able to post any kind of bond until, because I've got to get on my own 2 feet. And I'm
Okay,
gonna
Chelsea,
post
I'll call your dad and kind of explain to him what that would mean. He wouldn't have to put any money up if it's a signature bond, so I'll call and talk to him, okay?
that. Thank you, sir.
You're
Is there
welcome.
any way that I could be there at court, or is this all that I need to be?
I don't understand the question.
It's fine. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That's okay. I'll call him and let him know what the judge's ruling was, okay?
Okay, thank you. And also, I needed to see if I could be let out to go up front. I tried to call their number. I was able to get their number to update them on the situation because I'd already spoken to them previously. But is there any way, Your Honor, that I can speak to them up front to let them know? I don't have any kind of money on my books or anything like that to,
I
for
don't
the security.
understand what she's talking about.
There's a phone at the front of the jail she could use. Chelsea, I'll call the jail administrator and work that out for you, okay?
Thank you, Mr. Bates.
You're welcome.
Stand aside. State versus Tiffany Cortez, 18-18, theft by receiving. She also has 18-14. Maybe a drug case. In 18-18, she's charged with theft by receiving. Looks like we're here for an arraignment.
We'll enter a plea of not guilty, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll enter that plea and we'll have a pretrial on March 15th. Oh, it is. You're right. So we'll just have her appear before Judge Webb on, let's see, January 25th. Is 18-14 for arraignment?
I believe so, Your Honor.
Possession of paraphernalia, possession of purpose to deliver controlled substance. How does she plead in that?
Not guilty.
Okay, we'll enter the pleas of not guilty, and again, she can appear before Judge Webb on the 25th. Or the 18th, rather. What, did I say the 25th earlier?
You said the 25th.
Yeah, let's have her come back on the 18th.
Judge, if I may address Tiffany for just a moment.
Okay.
Tiffany, we talked last night about the hold. They actually have not filed the petition yet. So bond right now is not an issue because when they file that, you would just be picked right back up. So they'll have that filed by next week by the time Judge Webb is here, and then they can take up the issue of bond in all 3 cases, okay?
I bond out.
You cannot bond out today
Why not?
because they haven't filed the petition yet.
So I'm stuck.
Well,
I'm told today that a petition will be filed.
ma'am, I guess you can bond out, but as soon as you bond out, they'll rearrest you.
What? I don't understand.
Whether Mr. Bailey has talked to the prosecution, they've intended to file a petition to revoke your probation. So you would just be wasting your money to bond out, but if you've got it, waste it, if you desire.
I'm completely confused.
Okay,
Is there
Mr. Bailey will come over and talk to you, or talk to you later, explain it to you.
She can't bond out, Judge, because even though they haven't filed the petition, there's a hold saying that they are going to file the petition.
I see.
So she's not able to
Okay.
bond right now.
I don't understand any of this. Like,
Well,
I'm here on
he's
folks
gonna-
that I had nothing to do with because I went to the wrong place to change my clothes for a job interview.
Okay, ma'am, Mr. Bailey's gonna explain it to you later, but at this moment, there's nothing more we can do. We'll just stand aside. State versus Andrew, is that not? 18-13. Possession of controlled substances, paraphernalia. Yes, sir, I've appointed the public defender's office to represent you.
Yes.
So, he's appearing for an arraignment also.
Judge will plead not guilty at this time. I think we'll have him transported for probable resolution today.
Okay, we'll enter the plea of not guilty. Unless In case it's not resolved, we'll set it for March 15th for a pre.
Thank you, Your Honor.
We'll transport you to the courthouse later, sir.
Thank you, sir.
State versus Damian McBride, 18-10. Failure to register as a sex offender. Report address change. Sir, I've appointed the Public Defender's Office to represent you, and you're appearing here for an arraignment.
Judge, he'll plead not guilty to the charges.
Okay. We'll enter the plea of not guilty. I'll have you appear before Judge Webb on January 18th at 9:30. 9:30.
Y'all picked him up, but he's already signed a parole violation.
Anything further?
No, Your Honor.
You may stand aside, sir. Thank you. State versus Michael Flanagan, 18-9. Possessing controlled substances and drug paraphernalia. Sir, I've appointed the Public Defender's Office to represent you. He appears for arraignment also.
Judge, we would waive reading of the information and enter a plea of not guilty.
Very well. We'll enter that plea of not guilty. We'll have a pretrial on March 15th.
Judge, if we could just clarify his bond amount before we move on. He's got a $2,500 bond, Judge. We have no objection to that.
Okay. Thank you, sir. You may stand aside.
Mike, I'll come talk to you soon, okay?
Yes, sir.
State versus Jill Neal, 17-443. Delivery of controlled substances, unlawful use of a communication device near certain facilities. Miss Neal, we're going to transport you to the courthouse, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Joshua Chambers, 17-267. Rape is the charge. Here for a plea deadline.
Judge, we've been extended a plea offer in this matter. We're not in a position to accept it at this time. We're
Okay.
scheduled for trial, I think in February. We'll leave it as scheduled, or later this month.
It says January 23rd.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, you may stand aside, sir. State versus Doyle George, 17-216.
Your Honor, Mr. George is one of those. Your Honor, Mr. George is one of the cases that we spoke about earlier that is actually on your docket today for the sole purpose of entering a plea. I think with the new system that we determined that it would be better to do that plea next week.
Okay. You'll appear on January 18th before Judge Webb.
Dole will do your plea in front of Judge Webb next Thursday, all right? Okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, State versus Andrew Morantz, first appearance on the petition to revoke, 17-74.
Your Honor, I've been hired to represent Mr. Morantz privately. We entered a plea of not true. Is this... Your Honor, I think this is actually, he was sentenced in front of Judge Webb.
Okay, I'll set him for appearance on the 18th at 9:30.
All right. Andrew, I'll get over and see you. All right.
Yes, sir.
State versus Jessica Raymond, 16-301. It's a revocation.
Sorry.
Do you have a lawyer?
Mark Cooper was supposed to be my public defender.
Can you say that again? I didn't hear you.
I think Mark Cooper was supposed to be my public defender.
Okay, did you make an application?
Not for this court date. Not for these charges.
I'll schedule you to appear on February 1st for attorney status, and you'll need to make another application if you want to be represented by the public defender. We'll have a revocation hearing on February 15th.
Your Honor, she is a client of ours, but as the court has explained to her, she does need to fill out a new application. But she's right, I do represent her, but it's in another court, and so we need another application.
Okay. All right, you may stand aside, thank you. 16-15, Larry Harris, a revocation hearing. Does he need to be brought over?
He does, Your Honor.
They will transport him. Mr. Harris,
Yes, sir.
we're going to transport you to the courthouse for a hearing.
Okay, done with me then?
Thank you.
All right.
State versus Matthew Wiley, 15-118, it's a revocation.
Judge, it appears that Mr. Wiley was already arraigned on this back in November, if I'm not
Okay.
mistaken, and that it's set for a hearing next week in front of Judge Webb.
Okay, we'll leave it as scheduled.
This is Mr. Wiley here, Judge.
Mr. Wiley,
Yes, sir.
your hearing's next week. In front of
Yes,
Judge
sir.
Webb. So that's all we need to do today. You may stand aside. Is there anyone else in the jail whose case we need to take up? We won't do that another time. Now, Mr. Seabury has a Division 3 case. Do you want to address it, or?
Your Honor, I would rather, I'll be moving to transfer that case to Division 4 anyway.
Okay.
I would like to know if he's filled out an application for the new charge though, Judge.
You want me to ask him that? Matthew Seabury. Mr. Seabury, you have a new charge, 18-66. I'm sorry, that's
That
again
should be
correct.
1766.
17.
Yeah, the new one's 1817.
Okay, a new charge, 1817, possession of methamphetamine. Have you filled out an application to the Public Defender's Office?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
I was supposed to fill one out, I filled one out.
there's your answer. Okay, you'll be coming to court next week, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mark Cooper.
You're welcome.
State versus Edgar Carlisle, 18-21. Possession of controlled substances, possession of drug paraphernalia. Morning.
Judge, if I may have just a moment.
Sir, I've appointed the Public Defender's Office to represent you. You appear for an arraignment. How does he plead?
Not guilty.
We will enter that plea of not guilty. We'll have a pretrial hearing in your case on March 15th, 10 o'clock, or soon thereafter as we can get to it. You need to make an appointment to see the Public Defender's Office. State versus David Jones, 18-16. Possession of firearms for certain persons. Good morning. You have a lawyer, sir?
Not yet.
Are you going to hire a lawyer or make application to Public Defender's Office?
To hire a lawyer.
All right. We'll have you appear before Judge Webb on January 18th at 9:30 for attorney status, okay?
Okay.
All right. William Kennerly, 18-8. Introduction of controlled substance into the body of another, endangering the welfare of a minor. Sir, I've appointed the Public Defender's Office to represent you. You're here for an arraignment. How does he plead?
Not guilty.
We'll enter the plea of not guilty. Reappear before Judge Webb on January 18th at 9:30. 18-15, Ashley Ray. Paraphernalia. DWI, controlled substances. Ma'am, I've appointed the Public Defender's Office to represent you.
Thank you, Your
Hearing
Honor.
for an arraignment.
Not guilty, Your Honor.
We'll enter that plea of not guilty. We'll have a pretrial hearing on March 15th at 10 o'clock.
Yes, sir. Thank
Here
you.
we go. Clarice Thaker, 17-331. Possession of purpose to deliver with controlled substances, drug paraphernalia. Ma'am, I'm looking at a police statement, some conditions of suspension or probation. Have you gone over these?
Yes, I have.
And do you remember, do you understand what's set out in these documents?
Yes.
Do you know the charges against you and the range of penalties if you're convicted?
Yes.
Are you entering a plea of guilty to possession of controlled substance with purpose to deliver methamphetamine, possession of drug paraphernalia, for use or distribution of methamphetamine? Yes, there are a B felony and a D felony, and driving on a suspended license.
Yes.
Is that what you're pleading to?
Yes.
Okay. By entering your pleas of guilty, you're giving up your right to have a trial, and you also give up your right to an appeal. Do you understand this?
Yes.
Are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes, I am.
Other than what's in these documents, have you been promised anything to get you to change your plea?
No.
Has anyone pressured you or threatened you to get you to change your plea?
No.
Are you pleading guilty because you're in fact guilty?
Yes.
Okay. What did she do?
This arises out of a traffic stop on August 22nd of last year. The city police would have stopped her for a traffic violation, and at that time she was operating a vehicle with a suspended license. During a search of her vehicle and inventory of the vehicle, the officers found digital scales with narcotics residue, unused small baggies, syringes loaded with a clear liquid, which they believe is methamphetamine, a bag of crystalline substance, again believed to be methamphetamine, and $384 in U.S. currency.
Is that true?
Together.
Is that true?
I guess yes. Yes, yes, it is.
This time, ma'am, I accept your plea, adjudge you guilty for possession of a controlled substance with purpose to deliver methamphetamine. You're sentenced to 10 years in the Department of Correction to be suspended. For possession of drug paraphernalia, B felony, 10 years in the Department of Corrections to be suspended. For possession of drug paraphernalia, D felony, 6 years in the Department of Corrections to be suspended. And for driving on a suspended license, 1 day in the county jail, which will be suspended. And you've agreed to forfeit the currencies of it.
That's correct, Your Honor.
You'll pay $200 in cost, a $2,000 fine, a DNA fee of $250, a $20 booking fee, $200 in public defender fees, and a $125 drug crime assessment. You pay what you owe at the minimum rate of $100 each month, beginning within 60 days. Make your payments to the Sheriff's Department here in Baxter County.
Make my first payment today.
Very good.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.